This overload.
Welcome to Technically Speaking, the show for the technically challenged. I'm Stephanie, and today we're going to be talking about finding things on the web, or like I like to say, seek and ye shall find. Well, we've all tried to find something on the web, but some people are just so much better at it than others. So joining me today is a special guest, my friend Christina Rawlins. Hi, Christina.
Hi, how are you?
Well, I don't know what you know how to do, but anytime I've asked you to find something, I can find maybe this much and you find this much. So what do you do for a living?
What I do for a living is I do research, and I research for advertising and marketing companies. It's a global company. They have about 47,000 employees around the world in about 100 countries.
It's a big global
It's a
company.
big global company. Yeah, it's not. Yeah. So, and I also write reports and I do original research. So I get questions from people around the world. So.
When you say you do research, they give you, I don't know, a question, a topic, and you have to find the answer?
Yes, I have to find the answer.
Like what'd you do at work today?
Well, I was asked about spending per capita.
Okay.
And, which countries rank the highest, and it depends on whether you count households or whether you count.
Should I dare ask which country spends per capita the most?
Well, the United States if you count by household.
Okay.
Yes. Bermuda if you count by
Individuals. Look at that.
Yeah, so.
And then you can figure out how to find all that information.
Right, yeah.
And they spin that out to use for, I guess, marketing or something?
Right, exactly. So if they have a question that a client wants, or if they want to make a statement, they're doing a presentation, they're trying to pitch a new business, all these kinds of things that they need information for. Or sometimes they do their own original research and maybe they want to know, is this out there already? What are other people saying about it? Or maybe they have an inkling that this is true, but can I find something that substantiates that?
So you basically spend your days on Google.
Well, I don't only use Google.
Well, yes, that's what you've told me. That was secret number one. Because when I first asked you, before I even asked you to come on the show, I just noticed that you always find things and I can't find them. And I asked, do you have any secrets? And then the second question, if you remember, I asked was, and are those secrets that you can share?
Yes.
I wasn't sure if, you had some secret portal. And if I asked you on the show, you'd be like, sorry,
can't tell you about that.
But you said, no, you had secrets and you could share them.
That's exactly. I can share with you and your viewers things that are free.
I like free.
Yes, free is good. What I use at work tends to be a mix of everything.
Right.
So, sometimes it's free depending on their budget, or we subscribe to databases ourselves. So we will, so when you're in a business, you have to make sure that the information is correct. So.
But for us regular people, we'll stick with free.
Free is
well, you mentioned to me, and this is why I put up the icons, Google, Bing, and DuckDuckGo. Now, I've obviously heard of Google. I mean, Google, we even just say, I'll Google it to mean search.
Right.
Bing is a new search engine?
No, Bing is Microsoft's search engine.
Okay.
And Bing is they've come into the marketplace. Obviously, they have a much smaller market share than Google. Google has about 75% market share. 75%.
Oh, so they have like 25%?
Well, no, not really, but they have maybe about 15% market share.
Okay.
I'm just saying off the top of my head, so anybody's going to look this
didn't
up.
Research that
but Bing, because they're owned by Microsoft, they have some things that they can do better.
Oh, so even though they have a smaller market share now, maybe after our viewers see this episode, they'll get a bigger market share.
Exactly.
And then they can thank us.
Well, they own Corbis. I don't know if you're familiar with Corbis. Corbis, but Corbis is a stock photography and video.
Does that mean that Bing is better for images?
Yes, Bing is it's far superior to Google for images.
I didn't know that.
So yeah, you can do a lot of things with that.
All right, so tidbit number 1 I get to
Right.
learn today. Tidbit number 2 is you told me at DuckDuckGo.
Yes, DuckDuckGo.
I put the little icon here. I had no idea. What does that mean?
Well, DuckDuckGo is a competitor, obviously a much smaller market share. They recently partnered with Firefox, so if you download the Firefox browser, you can get DuckDuckGo.
Okay.
You can also add it on to Chrome. It's now available on there as an
So
add-on.
it's like a Google?
Well, it is, but it's very different from Google. Because
Okay.
Google, the reason that you find things differently, and anyone in the studio finds things differently, people watching your show find things differently, is because Google learns about you.
Oh.
So as you search,
A little invasive, but
right?
go ahead.
Google. Well, part of the problem is people are always this information overload, right?
Right.
So people are always worried about getting too much information. So what they've done is create algorithms. They learn about you, what you are searching for, whether you're searching mostly academic, mostly scientific, mostly
So they start delivering
business.
the results that they
so
think I want.
so they start to skew it toward your behavior.
Oh.
So
scary.
there's good things about that, and then there's bad things about that. So DuckDuckGo probably functions more like
Pure
search.
Okay.
So that if you did a search and I did a search,
we get the same
we
results.
get pretty much the same results. So
I'd
it
love
keeps
to-
you. Yeah, they call it the information bubble. So you're in a bubble because you're searching and it's narrowing your universe.
Okay.
So if you want to get outside the bubble, you should go to DuckDuckGo.
Okay. So Google as our catch-all.
Right, right.
Bing definitely for images.
Definitely for images. And also they're partnering with Twitter
Oh.
because Google has their own social network, which is Google+. So
Okay.
they're going to feature that more.
So if I Google something, I'm more likely to get Google Plus results.
Right. If you were searching their social media, or if you
Right.
put in a hashtag or you did something along those lines. So now Bing is trying to partner more with Twitter to give you better results from Twitter.
So if I'm looking for a particular Twitter post,
Right.
I should look on Bing.
You should try
If I look
Bing.
on Google,
Right.
they're kind of hiding those. And the DuckDuckGo is good for
Well, they have something that they called bangs.
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 Like hair bangs?
No. Basically, it's to make your search run quicker. So if you go on to, say you want to search Amazon, so you would, instead of just going to Amazon and doing your search, you would be in DuckDuckGo. You would put in exclamation point Amazon and then whatever you were searching for. So like boots, purple boots, or whatever.
And I'll just get Amazon results.
You'll get the Amazon results, and you can do it for Internet Movie Database. You can do it for a variety of things. I haven't looked into all the bangs that are out there, but there are quite a few. So.
And I thought I was so smart just throwing some search term into Google. Now, you mentioned a hashtag. You had sent me a couple of these different symbols.
Yes.
Including that hashtag that if you put it with your word, I don't know about everybody else, but I'm used to just kind of throwing into Google, Himalayan mountains.
Right.
Or, the name of a movie, or, creme brulee if I wanted to make that.
Right.
And I would get whatever results I would get automatically. You had mentioned to me that there are some symbols that we can use to kind of narrow down the search. Can you explain how to use these?
Sure. Basically, what you can do is you can go into Google, you can create your search, and then say you didn't want recipes from creme brulee. Maybe you wanted some other aspect of it. So you could say -, take away recipes.
Oh, so if I wanted creme brulee, not food.
No.
I don't know, the creme brulee is
Maybe the history or something. I don't know.
brulee, okay.
But just, if you wanted to get rid of recipes, you could do the -sign in front. So it would be take away things that would be recipes.
Oh, kind of like you happened to mention right before we were filming that my same name on Google is a bodybuilder.
Right.
So if somebody wanted to Google my name minus
bodybuilder,
then they'll definitely get me
right.
and not the
well,
bodybuilder.
or at least they won't get her. Depends on who else is out there.
Exactly. Okay, so that -sign, I can see where that comes in handy.
Yeah. It definitely comes in handy.
You know, because there's a lot of times that oh gosh, I didn't want any of that
Right.
other stuff. I wanted this.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
The ... range of numbers you mentioned, what does that
Right.
mean?
So say you wanted to shop for something, you wanted a range between $5 and $20 is what you wanted to pay.
Okay.
That's what you would use the ...
So I could put in like boots 5 ... 20.
Right.
Not that I'm going to find boots for $5.
Or you wouldn't want to wear them if you
Or
did.
even want to wear them if they only cost $5. But okay, boots 50 ...
Dot.
100 or something, and they'll show me boots in that
Right.
range.
Exactly.
Oh, good. So they won't show me like the $500 boots that I'm definitely not going to wear.
Well, yes.
Because who's going to buy those? Okay. Site : to restrict to a site. Is that like what you just mentioned with if I wrote Amazon : boots, they're going to
Well-
show me just Amazon results?
Well, you could do that in Google. This
Okay.
works in Google. The stuff I was talking about before was DuckDuckGo.
Oh, it was a DuckDuckGo
That's
thing.
the exclamation point thing.
Okay, so here it's
Yeah.
site : for
Right.
Google. With DuckDuckGo, it's exclamation point.
Right.
Similar thing, though.
Similar thing. Yeah.
I hope they give you a little glossary when you're using these things. Probably that's why 50% of the people use Google, because we know the rules. Or at least we know.
Or you get good enough. That's what a lot of people settle for. Good enough. This is good enough.
But we're not going to settle for good enough. We want to go the extra mile today. That's why we have on you as an expert. The next one you gave me is a little hashtag. Of course, it used to not be called a hashtag. It used to be called either a number sign or
The pound sign.
or a tic-tac-toe sign.
Oh, okay.
So if I put that tic-tac-toe sign or hashtag, then I'll see tweets.
Tweets.
Well, if I'm on Bing, you said I'll see tweets.
You'll see, yeah. And if you're on Google, it'll try to pick things up. But there's a lot of things that are hidden from Google. Google can't
Look at that.
search
And Google,
everything.
Google pretends that they're showing you the entire web. You're telling me they're not.
No,
Not
they're
even close.
No. There are like databases that they can't show you the
Wow.
content on. There's definitely things that are hidden from Google.
Oh, well, then we're going to have to try this duck thing.
Yes.
And finally, if you put something in quotes,
Right.
that I did know about before the show.
Good.
Something I knew.
Good.
So, because if I was looking for a person, if I just put in, John Smith, I might get a hit that Smith was mentioned in the first sentence and John further down on
Right,
the page, and that
right.
really didn't help me. I had learned that if you put John Smith in quotes,
Quotes.
you'll definitely get, it has to
John
be next to each other.
Right.
John Smith.
Yeah. And it also has to be what they call verbatim. So it wouldn't, say you were searching for something where there were more than one word for it,
Okay.
like a show in a theater. It would only search the word show if that's what you had put in quotes.
If I did, it doesn't,
Right.
go with a synonym or something
Right,
like
it
that.
wouldn't, yeah.
Does
wouldn't
it
give you a
correct
synonym.
spelling? Probably not.
Well, there's autocorrect already in there.
Oh, yes,
so
please.
The
And
bane
sometimes
of
they make
everybody.
a mess out of things, don't they?
They do.
So we've got a couple of ways, at least, to do better search. Maybe
Right.
not as good as you, but I
No.
don't know that anybody can be as good as you. But at least narrowing our things down. You had also sent me some of these other options.
Right.
You just tell me a little bit, what is Google Scholar?
Google Scholar is aimed at more of an academic audience.
Oh, okay.
So it's citations as well as actual papers. So it would be, something that would be in the academic press. A lot of times you will have to pay for the article.
So if I'm
Some
looking
of
for
them
creme
you-
brulee there, I'm
right.
not getting just
Yeah.
regular recipes.
No. And sometimes it would send you back to the maybe the professor's website, so
Oh.
you may be able to get something.
You're right. I've
Yeah,
never
so-
seen anything like
yeah.
that on a Google search before. So
No,
there's
no. And you
definitely-
have to go into Google, that actual
That Scholar.
URL, because it's not going to show
Just
up.
come up.
Right.
Google News Archive.
Yeah, this is something that Google has this tendency to take away things and then bring them back. And so this is something that went away. It has come back. I think there was probably copyright issues. I'm not really 100%
okay.
certain, but it seems to be much older. Like you would find the Brooklyn Eagle, like a much older newspaper.
Oh,
in
very
there.
cool.
So it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Very, very
Yeah.
cool. People Finder, is that like if I need someone's phone number?
Yes.
Oh,
People
good.
Finder and Switchboard.
Oh, they're both they're both to find
They're
phone
both
numbers.
to find phone numbers because
Oh,
yeah.
I
mean,
asked you that
yeah.
all the time. How do I find something? I just want to find
Yeah.
the soccer coach's phone number or
Right,
something.
exactly. And 411 or you dial information on your phone, you always have to pay for the most current information. So if somebody's moved frequently, you may not get their most current, but they are free, so it's worth a shot.
I like free. Okay, when we come back, we're going to do some Google searches and see what we can find. Welcome back as we learn how to refine our searches to find more on the web. Well, already I've learned a bunch of things, including that there's more than one search engine. So thank you so much.
Welcome.
Even if you teach me nothing else, I think I've discovered that Google is not the only search engine. Mm-hmm. Just by going to another search engine, I'm probably going to get a completely different result. And something else you said that was interesting. You were talking about how Google has learned who I am.
Exactly. So when you go and you put this in, I won't have gotten the same result.
That's so, I'm so glad you said that, because I've found myself occasionally on the phone with someone saying, don't you see it? It's the third choice down on Google, and they're not getting that.
No,
so now I don't feel so crazy.
Right.
So besides looking at different search engines, maybe I should walk over and use someone else's computer.
Exactly.
Because my computer knows me.
It does.
Or Google signed in with me knows me. But if I walked over to your computer, who knows? I'm going to get a flurry of different results. Exactly. So while we were gone, I bookmarked google.com. I knew where that one was. I also bookmarked bing.com and my favorite today, duckduckgo.com. So you said we're going to start on Google.
Right.
Okay, so here I am on google.com. So what should we search for?
Well, I thought we'd search for Charlie Brown.
I love Charlie Brown. Are we talking Charlie Brown the steakhouse, or are we talking Charlie Brown the cartoon character?
So if you just put in Charlie Brown.
Just Charlie Brown, and I'll hit search. Look, they're already suggesting things to me there.
Exactly. Trying to get you to narrow it down.
Okay. Charlie Brown. So the first one is the Peanuts character.
Right, exactly.
And then I see the steakhouse.
Right.
So the steakhouse came up next. So more of the Peanuts character, more of the steakhouse. Okay.
All right. So say you were actually interested in the musician.
There's a musician named Charlie Brown?
Yes.
Well, I'm never going to find him because there's all the Peanuts characters in the steakhouse.
So that's where you could start off by using the minus sign. So next to Charlie Brown, you put a space, and then the minus sign, and then Peanuts.
Minus Peanuts. Okay, and I'll hit search. I still got pictures of him.
You still got pictures? No.
Oh, but no. I didn't get anything about him.
Right. So if you go down, and again, Google but see now the third choice is the musician. Now you could have been more direct and said I wanted the musician.
Right, Charlie Brown,
Charlie
musician.
Brown, the musician.
Look at this. There's somebody named Charlie Brown who's running for Congress.
Right, exactly.
We would have never found him if I didn't take out the Peanuts things.
Exactly. So, and then there's other restaurants and stuff. So that's
Could I do double minus, like minus Peanuts and minus steak?
Yes, you could.
I could. Minus steak and minus Peanuts. And besides the pictures.
Right, exactly.
The first hit now is Charlie Brown for Congress. Well, I'm sure Mr. Brown in California's 4th District would like us to all minus everything else because he came out on page 20, I'm sure, the other way. Oh, that minus does help.
It does help a lot. So now, say you wanted to find Charlie Brown, but you wanted to go back and see who the real Charlie Brown was. So I would have you go over to the news archive one.
Okay, that's right. I came over here.
Right.
I went to news.google.com/newspapers.
Right.
Okay.
And these tend to be much older newspapers, probably out of copyright. And so if you go down into where it says Google News and search in there.
Let's see. Google, in this search box?
In that box, yeah.
Okay, so now I'm going to write Charlie Brown.
Yes.
And I'm not going to get the restaurant or the cartoon character?
Well, this case, we do want the cartoon character.
Okay. Am I going for search archive or search the web?
Search archive.
Search archive. Oh.
And then the first one is the real Charlie Brown.
Look at that. There is a real Charlie Brown?
There is a real Charlie Brown.
I would have never found out.
So if you open that up, you can see the newspaper where it appeared.
Look at that. All because we went into Google News.
Right.
If I was in regular Google.
Right. And if you were in regular Google News, you wouldn't find that.
Look at that. I didn't know that there was a real Charlie Brown. Very cool. So let me just go backwards a little bit. That was news.google.com/newspapers.
Yeah.
That almost reminds me of the old days when you go to the library and look at the microfilm.
Right, exactly.
Okay, our young viewers have no idea what microfilm is, but some of us remember microfilm.
Well, if they're doing archives, they'll have to know what that is.
That's cool. That's probably
right.
really handy for people with schoolwork.
Well, it can be, but again, this is something that Google has taken away before, so.
Oh, so we better enjoy it today, because it might go away again.
Yeah, and I don't really know how robust it is. It doesn't seem to have, it seems to be mostly papers that are gone away.
Gotcha.
That I would never have heard of before.
Now, speaking of Google, you had me also bookmark something called Google Advanced Search.
Advanced Search. So before we were talking about putting quotations around things, and we were talking about the minus sign.
Right.
So you could actually, it leads you through that whole process. So it would say, find any of these words, find this exact phrase, which would be put your quotes around.
Oh, so if I did find pages with all of these words, if I
Right.
did Charlie
Brown, right,
this exact word or phrase
would just be exactly Charlie Brown.
Okay. And then
In here,
none of these words.
right, you could do none of these words would be the minus sign.
Okay, so that's where I would put
in peanuts or Schultz or cartoon. You could put in a number of those things.
Or the numbers. You mentioned the number range before.
Right. So normally that would be from maybe year to year, dollar sign to dollar sign. It would have to be something versus
So
something.
if I go to google.com/advanced search, I don't have to remember anything you told me in the first segment.
Well, that's not totally true, but it does help you out a lot. And this is where you would put in your site information. So if you wanted it to come from a certain site or domain.
Okay, just
so
from a
like if you were
particular
searching for shoes in Amazon, if you were searching, in this case, maybe you wanted to restrict it to academic sites. So you could put .edu so that they would come from more,
I also see I can pick
things.
things in a specific language.
That's right. You can pick things in different languages.
So if I didn't want it to be in English or even a region, look at this. These are like specific countries.
Right, exactly.
I never knew how you could search in another country.
And then you could also look for file types. So say you wanted a presentation, you could put in PowerPoint.
Wow.
You could put in PDFs, you could put in whatever
I'm becoming less impressed that you can do all that. Google.com/advanced search is going to become my friend.
And I'll show you, we'll go back to the original Charlie Brown search.
The original
first Google, yeah.
Here we go.
So now when you go under here, there's the missing tool, which is under search tools. You see that here? Anytime you do a search in Google, if you click on that, it will give you a range of things that you can look for. In this case, it's time. And you see, it knows where you are. It knows that you're in Floral Park.
So invasive.
Right. And if you go up to where there's a gear sign under that sign-in box, yes.
Okay.
That will bring you to
advanced search. Look,
I
don't even have to remember.
Exactly, but you have to conduct a search for these things to appear.
Okay, so it doesn't work.
It doesn't work right out of the box.
I have to actually start.
Yeah, so sometimes you might not want to go through that, so you bookmark it.
How hard was that?
But anyway, those are sort of tips.
Fantastic. So we can go to regular Google and use the little minus signs and quotes and things that you taught us about, or we can come to regular Google, click on the little gear, which will send us into advanced search.
Right.
Or we can go directly to google.com/advanced search and get all these options. So already, I mean, what else did we learn today besides all these search engines? We've learned that someone named Charlie Brown is running for Congress.
Exactly.
Who knew?
And there was a real Charlie Brown.
And we learned from Google News that there was a real Charlie Brown.
Okay.
None of which we would have learned the first time.
And we have one more thing we're going to look at, Google France.
Oh, yes. You had me put in, I put in google.com, google.fr
for France.
For France. Yeah. Every country has a little...
Right, and some of them have CO before them, so sometimes the country... And then
CO for country.
And then,
But this is Google France.
Right.
And I can see it right there. It says Google France, and then underneath it, it says a whole lot of French things.
Right, and you could just put in Charlie Brown, just since we're on a Charlie Brown kick.
Charlie Brown.
And you see that Coldplay, for some reason, comes up higher than the congressman. And
Oh, yes, look at that. And they don't have in France, I guess, the restaurants.
no, so
There's no steakhouse.
Nope.
And look, I can even continue in English with these same results. So these are the French results,
right,
or the France results,
right.
but at least I could look at it in English.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to.
You could look at it in English, yeah.
So I don't have to rack my brains for that high school French. Okay.
All right.
Now I bookmarked Bing,
Bing.
here. You mentioned something about pictures. How do I look for a picture here?
Okay, so let's say we're going to look for salsa.
Salsa. Ooh,
Because
you're
everybody
making me
loves
hungry.
salsa. Okay.
Salsa. Search.
Okay. So now if you
there's
go,
one picture.
okay. Now if you go under images, on the
Images.
sub-menu there,
Here? Okay. Ooh.
you get all these different. Now, if you notice underneath that, it'll give you all these suggestions whether you want salsa
size.
dancing dancers,
Oh,
all of that kind
okay.
of stuff. And then in addition to that, then the size of the picture, the color of the picture, the type of the picture.
So if I
So
did
Leia,
chips and salsa,
then you would get pictures of chips.
and if I
salsa.
wanted them to be
Special-
especially...
if you want green salsa, you would get green salsa.
Look at that! I didn't even know there was
green
such a
chips.
thing as green salsa and green chips.
And green chips. All right. And then you can also find out whether or not there's a license for those photos. So say you wanted to use them.
Okay.
License is there, yeah.
Very
Under
nice.
that, you can see
Public
when-
domain,
right,
free to share and use.
and-
Oh, very nice. I could use this.
Exactly.
I thought the only place to find pictures was Google, but I didn't get green salsa.
Right, exactly.
And I certainly didn't get them telling me which ones were licensed.
Right.
Usually I would click in and then I'd see a watermark or
Right,
something
exactly.
and know that I
And you
couldn't
really
use
have
it.
to, yeah, you really have to go back to the source to be 100% sure.
All right. Well, we only have a couple of minutes left.
So we'll do duck,
DuckDuckGo. You have to tell me about this DuckDuckGo. But
right.
one thing that caught my eye when I came to DuckDuckGo.com is the search engine that doesn't track you.
Exactly. So it keeps you out of that bubble that Google has you in. So it's not learning your behavior. It's giving you more access to the open web. It's not
Okay.
refining you down before you even start.
Okay, which is good also because all these other search engines, they save your searches and then they send you ads. I remember one day I was looking for boots, and then for the next week they kept showing me the boots in the sidebar.
right.
So DuckDuckGo won't do that to me?
No.
Nice. So what should I search for here?
We could search for salsa.
Let's
again.
look
What
for
kind of
salsa
we
and
like
see
salsa.
something different.
See something different.
Nice little pictures.
Nice little pictures. And then I was going to show you how you can use the bang.
Okay. How do I do that?
So you go up there, and before salsa,
Before salsa.
you put exclamation point Amazon
Amazon.
dot
Dot.
space. No, not dot.
No,
Sorry, space.
Amazon salsa.
And there you are in Amazon. So you can do that.
Look at that. Wow. We've learned a lot.
Good.
All of these links and tips can be found on our website at technicallyspeakingtv.com. I know I have a lot of searching to do. Thanks for joining us, and happy searching.